Welcome to Tannoah Travel Tips. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And don't forget to hit the bell to make sure you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Want to minimize your risk of getting sick while traveling? Then this video's got you covered, so let's get into the video. How to survive the germiest places while traveling. Traveling is the best way to experience new places, cultures, and cuisines. It's also a great way to come into contact with germs. The good news is that with most germs, you can minimize your chances of getting sick by taking basic hygiene precautions. One of the best ways to reduce your risk of getting sick is to pack hand sanitizer and make a habit of frequently washing your hands and using sanitizer when you travel. Yet you cannot avoid all germy situations, and you don't want to ruin your vacation or travel plans by coming down with a bug. So, you need to be aware and respond to the situations as they arise to minimize your risk of getting sick. So let's look at some of the most germ-filled situations that you may encounter during your travels, starting at the airport. One of the germiest places that you're likely to encounter when you enter the airport is the check-in kiosk. The pin pads at the check-in kiosks don't get cleaned as often as they should, so if you can, go contactless by checking in for your flight online or downloading your ticket to your phone. If you're forced to use the kiosks, however, minimize your chances of getting sick by using hand sanitizer or washing your hands once you've completed the check-in process. Another of the most germ-filled places that you're likely to encounter in the airport are the check-in counters. The counters are typically heavily used, which makes them difficult to thoroughly clean between passengers. This makes it easy for germs to spread across the countertops, which can make you sick if you touch your mouth, nose, and eyes without thoroughly washing your hands. Instead, once again, go contactless and check into your flight online to minimize the chance of spreading germs to other passengers and the TSA agents who check you in. Yet another of the areas of the airport that is highly germ-filled is the security checkpoint. Every person that's getting on a plane is filtered through the security checkpoints, and the TSA agents there are looking for explosives, dangerous items, other weapons, or anything that cannot make it onto the plane. And in doing so, basically all of the people that are getting on the planes or going into the airport have the potential to be touching the surfaces or items at these locations, and therefore potentially spreading germs throughout the area. Unfortunately, you are at the whim of the security agents who check you in, so the best way to handle this situation and avoid getting sick is to minimize touching any of the surfaces as much as possible and to immediately sanitize your hands after passing through the security gates. You've now made it through security and you've boarded the plane. So now let's check out the germiest places on the airplane. One of the germiest places on the airplane is where you'll be spending most of your time during your flight, namely the seats, the tray tables, the armrests, and the overhead bins, as well as the air vents. While you can't avoid touching these places, there are ways to minimize your chances of getting sick. For one, you can bring along hand sanitizer wipes that are cleared through the TSA that you could wipe down any surfaces that you may need to touch prior to settling into your seat. Also, make sure that you sanitize your hands immediately afterward if you're forced to touch any of these surfaces during your flight, so that you don't accidentally touch your face, eyes, or mouth and get infected. And it should come as no surprise that another one of the most germy places that you'll visit on an airplane is the bathroom. Fortunately, we are used to washing our hands and using good hygiene while in the bathroom, but you cannot risk everyone else following good hygiene. So the best way to avoid getting sick is to make sure that you thoroughly wash your hands before and after going to the bathroom, and to sanitize your hand immediately afterwards if you're forced to touch any of the surfaces inside the bathroom. Most importantly, don't touch your nose, mouth, or eyes without thoroughly washing your hands first after you've used the restroom. You've survived the flight and now you're at the hotel. So let's check out the germiest places at the hotels. Similar to the airport, one of the germiest places in a hotel is the check-in desk, and for the same reasons. The desk is likely touched by many people throughout the day and most certainly is not cleaned between check-ins. Therefore, it is important, just like before, to minimize touching any countertop where other guests could possibly have touched. Likewise, it is smart to avoid placing objects on the countertop to avoid contamination. Hotel clerks may have you sign paperwork, so have your own pen ready to avoid using one that other guests have touched. Of course, depending on the hotel check-in procedure, you may also have to use touch pen pads or touch screens. As always, sanitize your hands immediately after check-in, but it is doubly important to do so if you have to touch any items that could have been touched by other guests. Another one of the germiest places in the hotel is the elevator. Many guests touch the elevator buttons without washing their hands, and the elevator itself is certainly not cleaned after each use. Therefore, it is important to avoid touching the elevator buttons if you can. You can use a sanitizer wipe in your hand to create a barrier between your hand and the elevator buttons, or even use a piece of your clothing or a knuckle or elbow. Also, take care not to hold on to any railing that is on the walls of the elevator, as you are likely not the first person to touch it. Yet another one of the germiest places in the hotel is the actual hotel room itself. While each room is certainly cleaned and sanitized between each stay, there are some touch points of which to be cautious. For example, the door handles. The door handles to the room are a common source of germs, and you can never be sure that other guests have not accidentally touched the door handles while getting mistaken on their room number. Another potential issue inside the hotel room are decorative items on the bed, such as throw pillows and some bedspreads. These often cannot be laundered, so it is just best to remove them from the bed and do not use them during your stay. Also, as a precaution, it is smart to sanitize the remote control, the room telephone, the thermostat, and the alarm clock prior to using them, as they may not have been cleaned or potentially have just been missed during the cleaning process. So, now that you are aware of the most common places that you may experience germs when traveling, use the tips and suggestions from this video to help minimize your risk of exposure. That way, you can enjoy your travel and have the peace of mind that you did all that you could to stay healthy in the process. In this video, we've covered the most common germ-filled places, but we are well aware that it's not an exhaustive list. If you know of any other locations or any other tips of reducing the chances of getting sick while traveling, feel free to leave a comment below. On behalf of Tannoah Travel Tips, thanks for watching. We hope to see you soon for more exciting travel tips.